Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines. We'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, it's been a lot going on in the drill scene within the past few days that I've been seeing but I couldn't cover due to a crazy toothache. But if y'all following us on IG, I told y'all that eventually I'll get to it and set a few things straight, because it's been a lot of weird things going on top of a lot of questionable things, followed by false narratives and half-truths. Whether it's text messages being exposed, whether it's fingers being pointed at someone snitching, there's a lot of things that have been left out or went over heads, and as y'all know, I like to point out things that just don't make sense. So I'm not going to tell y'all what to believe or what's true or not. I'm just going to highlight a few things and then leave it up to y'all to decide on what sounds more accurate opposed to what just don't make sense. So we're going to break down each situation where we'll address everything one by one so y'all can follow what's going on and use it to your own discernment. With that being said, let's start off with the first thing we seen, where allegedly text messages were exposed by D-Thing and Mother Duke's baby mother Fat Fat, where she exposed that allegedly Von been told Mother Duke that he was going to tell on Little Durk and the oblock members involved in the RICO case concerning the shooting of Quando Rondo associate Lil Pab. Now, I'm not going to make any claims because y'all like to say things are conspiracy theories, so instead of me saying anything, I'm just going to ask you a few questions and y'all come to your own conclusions of what makes sense and what don't. So let's get into the first thing. Mother Duke and D-Thing's baby mother Fat Fat would post text messages where everyone assumed it was Vonnie texting Mother Duke, stating that he was about to tell because he can't go to trial. She captioned a screenshot of the text messages and said, quote, "Free Uncle Smirk, rat, N-word." Now, first and foremost, when have y'all ever heard Free Uncle Smirk publicly stated by Fat Fat? I'm gonna leave that alone for now, but however, shout out to Loyalty and Betrayal because she seemed to be the only one that caught it. Y'all check this out.
You don't see it? It's right there in front of you. She takes my money when I'm in need. Oh, she a gold digger. Y'all ain't find it funny that she ain't put no explanation with these texts? Those are Trench's News' texts. She's reposting texts from Trench's News. Look at his logo.
Now, everyone was under the misconception that this text message was taken from Mother Duke's phone and was Vonnie explaining to Duke that he was about to tell. However, as Loyalty called it out, you could still see a blogger's logo in the bottom right corner if you look hard enough, indicating that this was just a screenshot. Also, let's actually get into what was said to determine a few things. Now, off rip, the first text from allegedly Vonnie will state, quote, "Salams Abu." Now, off rip, for the Muslim guys and girls out there that know the dialect, you know that salam is short for salam alaikum, which means hello, and Abu, which means father. So right then and there, that cuts out the claims that Vonnie was getting in contact with Duke, because instead, he was reaching out to his father, and the text messages were screenshots taken from a conversation he may have had with his father, right? Now, the rest of the text messages would read, quote, "This is my jail number if you need to get in contact. Send me a message here, inshallah. I'll call you this week. Just now able to get everything on point. Yeah, I'm trying to plea out to a 32, which is the base for M. For H, max is 43, which is life, 2 points for plea, 1 point for early plea, 2 points for no background, 27 is 5 to 7 years. Hopefully, inshallah, it's better than that. I can go to trial, might get an elbow, don't want them to do me like them other boys." Now, technically, if you read close, there's nowhere in those text messages where the man says verbatim that he's going to cooperate. However, he did say that he don't want to take it to trial because he's seen what happened with them other boys, aka the Oblock 6, where they took it to trial and basically blew. So what he's saying is that he'd rather take a plea where it may be a lot of time, but at least he can possibly still see the light of day again. So to call him a rat to sway a narrative is one thing, but what you call taking a plea is another, because you have some people that say taking a plea isn't snitching, while some say taking a plea is. Now, let's break down why. When you have co-defendants on your case and you vow to take a plea while everyone isn't, you make it look bad for everyone else, because to take a plea is just another way of saying you are guilty of the crime and you are aware that a crime was committed, and you are admitting that what you are being accused of is basically true. So if you are OTF DD or Little Dirk, him taking a plea will hurt your case because he basically just admitted to everything that was put against him. So now you as his co-defendant is going to now have to not only fight against what the prosecutors are accusing you of, but now it's a handicap fight because they already have someone that took a plea. This is why when everyone started taking pleas in the Young Thug YSL trial, they were considered cooperators because they're basically admitting to guilt. So now think about it. If a jury sees all this evidence they have against you, on top of your co-defendant already admitting to what took place on his behalf, then how does that look for you? So when they're calling Vonnie a snitch, it's important that y'all understand why. Because some of the people that's calling him a snitch are the same ones that had no problem with the YSL guys taking pleas in their case, and it's basically the same thing, right? So now the question you have to ask yourself is, did he snitch, or was he just protecting himself like most people do? And for the YNs watching this for the millionth time, pay close attention, because usually when it all boils down to this point right here, everyone is going to do what he's doing and be for self at the end of the day. And if that queso trial didn't just prove that, then I don't know what would tell you. But now here's the question I wanted to ask y'all. For the ones that thought this was Vonnie texting Mona Duke, let's talk hypothetical for just a second. If Duke knew ahead of time that Vonnie was going to allegedly snitch, wouldn't he have told Fat his baby mother / girlfriend? Because that is her kid's uncle, right? Uncle Schmirk. So it's safe to say that if he had that information, then she should have been had that information. So why is it that she just now is starting with the sudden rat snitching stuff against Vonnie, saying free Schmirk, if she been had that information? Why did it take for OTF Nut to put that bait out there in order for her to tag along? Because how is it that he would know before her, right? That's just being hypothetical. Also, if Vonnie felt so comfortable confiding in Mona Duke, and now we know that Vonnie snaked out Vaughn and is potentially doing the same thing to Dirk, then what does that say about Duke and Fat? So to sum it all up, if Duke didn't tell her, then what is he hiding? But if he did tell her, then what is she hiding? And why didn't this get exposed sooner when all of this been known since November of last year? Now, not to mention, she know that those text messages didn't come from Mona Duke's phone, although some people thought it did. I'm just confused as to why she didn't clear that up in the first place. But I'm gonna just leave those questions there. But now let's focus on the next thing that was put out there, which was where the actual text thread came from. Now, for some reason, the whole text thread wasn't exposed, it was just certain parts. It may be because the other part of the text message may expose something we've been saying and been known, but now it's solidified when it comes to certain things pertaining to the unaliving of Kingvon. Now, I'm not going to expose the whole message now because I'm saving it for another video that we're working on, but let's address the rumor floating around due to the text thread that the night Kingvon was unalived, he was allegedly meeting up with Quando Rondo to have a peace treaty. Now, like I said before, even though a lot of y'all know that's very, very false, let's just use what we were told to debunk that story. If y'all remember, Kingvon's manager, 100K Track, stated during his interview with DJ Academics that they didn't know where they were going. They were just going to go to a hookah lounge to celebrate Boss Hop's birthday and just wanted to have fun. So they randomly found a hookah spot to go to and ended up at Monaco Hookah Lounge. Now, first and foremost, that story was already weird from the beginning because who's going to go to the hookah spot at 3 a.m. in the morning? But two, what time does hookah spots close out there? Because in most cities, the hookah lounges close at least 4 a.m. So what's the sense? But that's another story. So now, you have a rumor going around that they were going to have a peace treaty and they were linking up at the hookah lounge to do so. But then you have the manager, 100K Track, that never ever mentioned that and stated that they were just going to the hookah lounge for Boss Top's birthday. Then if the peace treaty was in fact true, don't you think 100K Track would have mentioned that? Don't you think Quando Rondo would have mentioned that? Because that's something that would be big to announce to get clout off, right? Now also, if y'all remember the security guard that night that was captured on camera stating that despite 100K Track saying that they randomly picked the hookah lounge, the security stated that Quando's van was already sitting in the front of the hookah lounge for a long time, almost as if they were waiting for someone. His words verbatim was, "It's almost as if they were waiting for something." So that's pretty much it for now. There's a lot more pertaining to this Vonnie situation that I'd like to uncover later on because I want to properly reveal everything that comes with it. However, just know it's a lot going on, and I think at this point, people are starting to realize that the BS they've been told over the years just ain't cutting it. Since everyone pointing fingers at Vonnie, when he stole that money from Vaughn, you think a certain someone didn't know? Why was he able to still be around further if that was their so-called brother? When Kayla stole those hard drives and gave them to Vonnie to give to a certain somebody, where do you think that idea came from? Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. How do y'all feel about what y'all heard? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'ma keep on dropping. And I'm out.